Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stella Lugalambi from Hamwe, East Africa. We're an ag tech company housed in this building, actually. Hamwe has been building solutions since 2013. We were the first people to win the NISIP for the best ag tech of the year. And we're working with over 300,000 farmers in over 20 districts in Uganda. What we do is we build farmer management systems, knowing that our farmers have been financially excluded because they don't have farming statements, production records. So we decided that this was our innovation. Let's digitize farming records. And so we work with member-based organizations, cooperatives, farmer groups, and farmer producing organizations. We actually don't select whichever value chain. Currently, the biggest value chain we have is seed oil in northern Uganda, but we are catching up with honey as well, coffee, and shea seed. What happens on these programs is when we talk to a cooperative, we give them the software because cooperatives can't afford to buy the software. So we put up bundled services on that software. So they collect the data, they profile the farmer, bio plus production data, acreage, GPS, and everything. Then we use that data to talk to financial institutions, corporate farmer input distributors. We talk to insurance companies, and then they bring their services, and then we make commissions off that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mary Susan Abo. I'm the Managing Director at the Center for Research in Energy and Energy Conservation. The center is located at the College of Engineering, Design, Art and Technology in Makerere University. The center has been in existence since 2001, and we focus on increasing access to modern types of energy through applied research, training and capacity building, and advisory and consulting services backed up with renewable energy testing facilities that ISO 17025 recognized. In terms of the renewable energy technologies that we do, we focus on solar power, so solar PV, solar thermal. We also do bioenergy. That includes biogas, gasification, combustion technologies, torrefaction, both at the macro and the micro scales. So the micro scales would fit into cooking technologies like the cookstoves, and then the macro scale would be systems that can support agricultural entities in the rural areas, for instance, for running productive use units on food processing. We also do energy efficiency technology. So we have a list of 100 top consumers of power in the country, and we do energy audits and verifications for them. We do wind energy, but on a small scale, and we contribute to the development of geothermal in the country, working together with government partners and the other departments. We have testing centers, and within those we are testing cooking devices, fuels that are used in cookstoves. So we're regional testing and knowledge center for clean cooking, and we also have a center to test solar equipment. So with that, I want to comment quickly because you said we should comment
straight
on
into it. Yeah.
How technology can be used to advance or to enhance the efforts in agriculture. So my background
and
is not
especially speaking from your part, from a point of efficiency, energy. From energy. Yes,
exactly. My background is not agriculture. I'm an engineer, civil and process, and the center has a number of engineers from different disciplines. But over the years, we've added capacity on communication, environment, seeing the role of that, and entrepreneurship. And within that, we are also doing incubation for renewable energy businesses. So we interact with our entities that are doing business in solar, in cooking devices, and so on. But within that, we are also doing work with agriculture, especially in the north, working with partners like GIZ to train and build capacity and do the linkage between energy and agriculture for productive use units, powering productive use units from different sources of renewables like solar for irrigation, and solar for any other processing. But what I want to highlight as a role here, I want to focus on knowledge management. And maybe Dr. Annette, who is the director of the Knowledge for Development Center at Makerere University Business School, would have been here with us as well. But at least she's in the audience and she's listening. There she is. Because they are doing a lot of work. We're working together with them. I'm also a part of the partners there, working together with them on advancing and driving knowledge management that is required across the sectors, not just agriculture. But coming back to agriculture then, I said knowledge management. I want to check, besides Dr. Annette, who else has heard of this phrase? With show of hands.
Which phrase? Just
knowledge
clarify.
management.
Knowledge management.
Yes. I see some staff from Creek and a few others.
All the
Great.
staff members.
Yes.
So
But
you need to manage a lot of knowledge, really. We are doing badly.
we are at a point where that is so critical, and that's where, you know, the structural knowledge assets like the ICT that our colleagues from NITA were talking about, the applications you're talking about for improving efficiency and, you know, contributing to the preparedness for the entrepreneurs, contributing to the preparedness of the agricultural entities for investments, for collaboration, for access to support. It is so critical for us to invest in knowledge management, understand what it is, and apply it. And we're doing it in many ways, but I just want to, you know, give that overview, maybe in a minute or so.
I need to cut you short, so you need
Give
to
me
wrap
a
it up.
minute.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So in our National Development Plan, NDP3, knowledge is mentioned over and over again, I think over 20 times. Now, knowledge management is a process of generating, acquiring, storing, and making that knowledge easily accessible to whoever needs to use it. Now, there are three main assets in that. There's the human knowledge asset, and that's the people. So in terms of agriculture, the people that have this knowledge, that includes the indigenous and the non-indigenous. How can we profile these people that they can be accessed when they are needed with the knowledge they have? So knowledge is both codified and uncodified or non-codified. The other asset is a structural asset where you have the applications for accessing finance, the portals where they can access information. And I want to give an example. Maybe you've heard of ASARECA. It's the association that is trying to strengthen research in agriculture in Eastern and Central Africa. And they have recently developed a knowledge hub on their website where all these countries and people working in agriculture can get the most recent, accurate research work done in agriculture and use it to improve or to answer some questions in their interventions. And that's the role of knowledge management in that. So that is a structural knowledge asset where you have all the ICT and the apps and technologies and procedures very codified and, you know, easily accessible for when it is needed for decision making. The third part, and that's the last, is the relational knowledge asset. How are the partnerships in agriculture run? When those are well facilitated, we can benefit from the partnerships. All the entities, governments, financial institutions, research organizations, they're all doing something in agriculture, plus the farmers on the ground, the local government authorities, and all the programs that are being led and efforts towards agriculture. How are those partnerships being supported? And all these three assets work together, and that's how we get the benefit from knowledge management in agriculture.
I'm William Linda, co-founder and CEO of Easy Agric. How many of us are farmers in this room?
Farmers.
Okay. How many of us know about Easy Agric? Okay. That's at my time. So maybe to just give a glance about Easy Agric, we are like Jumia for agriculture, but we do more than Jumia. What that means is that we help agrovets. Agrovets are those small agro-retail shops which you see in your rural areas or in your urban areas. They sell seed, they sell fertilizer, they sell all those kind of farming equipment. So we stock them. So what it means that we have a digital marketplace platform where they're able to go and order for these particular products. Then for us, we deliver them from the certified manufacturers in Uganda, and soon we're expanding to Kenya and Tanzania. So, but we know that agriculture is, I'm trying now to bring the question into the angle. Agriculture to us, we don't see it as just something anyhow. We believe agriculture is a science, and agriculture needs to be done in a given way. Now, when we talk about sustainable agriculture, that means that economically, environmentally, it needs to be sustainable. What it means that you have to do it now, today, and tomorrow you can do it again. Or tomorrow your grandsons can still do it again. That means that you do it in such a way that it's able to sustain the environment that you gain, but also the environment stays the way it is. So coming on the side of emerging technology is that what we have seen that it's very important. When we started this journey in 2015, we realized that actually farmers are very passionate about what they're doing, but they really need to be helped to understand, to do what they're doing better. What it means that people are just throwing seed on the ground and they just pray that that seed is going to grow and that seed is going to come up and give them the yield. But what we are seeing is that agriculture is deeper than that. It's all about, first of all, getting the thinking that you need to do it as a business and sustainably. What that means is that you need to know the size of the gardens which you're having. That's step one. If at all you know the size of the garden, of course, the technical agriculturalists, I know there are a lot of technical people here on the panel, we know what it means. That means that you can try to tell your cost of production, because a lot of farmers know how much produce trades per kilogram, but you ask them how much is their cost of production per kilogram, few of them know it. And that's the genesis of them not running it as a business. But not only, I'm trying to first talk about the economic sustainability, then I'm going to talk about the environmental sustainability, because that's what it means to have sustainable agriculture. So when we start from that angle, then that means that the farmers are able to be educated using technology, because all this is automated in Easy Agric, that you just pick that I want to do coffee, I want to do maize, then it tells you that, okay, if I know you have mapped your garden using satellite imagery, your garden is 2 acres, and according to what you want to do, if you want to do maize, you need this amount of seed, and you need this amount of fertilizer, you need this amount, all that kind of what we call a farm plan for you to be able to tell your cost of production before you engage into production.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Vilopo Andrew. I work at the Mastercard Foundation as a program partner within the digital economy space. At the foundation, we work with visionary organizations within Africa and in indigenous communities within Canada. So most of our work is geared at enabling young people to access dignified and fulfilling work. In Uganda, we have a bold target of getting 2.4 million young people into dignified and fulfilling work. Our strategy focuses majorly within the MSMEs, agriculture, and the digital economy space. We also work with enablers such as education and skilling, access to finance, favorable policies, and then mindset change. We have a major program that is so much geared to agriculture digitization and enabling sustainable agriculture. That is the Digital Dose program being implemented countrywide. And it's mostly focusing on the grassroots challenges that the farmers are facing. And our other agriculture programs focus on enabling farmers to practice agriculture, to get into agricultural practices that will enable them produce sustainably for the current population, but also enable or not so much damage the environment, so that the future generation is also in position to be in position to produce for themselves. When I speak about sustainable agriculture, I'm going to majorly talk about the last mile. From my experience, there are very many challenges that are out there. And we know as Uganda, the majority of us, I would say 70% of the population is into agriculture. And a majority of them still are based within the rural areas. So there are challenges in there that affect them to access inputs, access information, and also access markets. So in most cases, they will end up practicing agricultural practices that are going to damage the environment. So with the use of technology, I would say from my previous experience, technology would come in to bridge that gap and enable the farmers to have access to inputs that can be traced. These are organic inputs that are perhaps not going to damage the environment, and also provide them access to financial services. Because without finance, a farmer won't be in position to produce. And lastly, access to market. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jean-Paul Nageri, and I'm the CEO and founder of Sio Valley Technologies. We invented a solution called Kafresh, and what it does is it helps farmers, retailers, and exporters to significantly extend the shelf life of their produce at room temperature without using any chemical preservatives or any form of refrigeration. So how Kafresh works is we get extracts from the peels of bananas, oranges, mangoes. So these extracts are in an oil form, and we turn these oils into a powder, and then when we combine that with water, we're able to spray this onto produce, and it forms an invisible coating. And this coating basically slows down the rate at which produce respires, and the act of doing that extends the shelf life significantly. As of right now, at this moment, we've extended the shelf life of tomatoes to 6 months at room temperature. We've extended the shelf life of Hass avocados to 30 days at room temperature. We've also extended the shelf life of cocoa yams to 60 days at room temperature. By the end of this year, we'll have been able to preserve over 20,000 tons of produce. And so we're really on track to eliminating food waste. And that is what we do at Sio Valley Technologies. We try to solve the hardest problems in agriculture using very advanced level agriculture science, mostly in advanced material science, biophysics, and molecular biology. So when I think of sustainable agriculture, I see us using nature to solve a lot of the problems that we're currently having. You see, some of the oldest trees in Africa are able to last long because they have microorganisms that exist in the roots. These microorganisms are a combination of bacteria and fungi. And so these old trees have learned through evolution and time that if we create a conducive environment for these fungi, then they're able to provide benefits to us by allowing us to get nutrients in the soil more easily and even accessing water during drought periods. So in order for us to have sustainable agriculture, we have to avoid using tillage practices and employing more of biotechnology. Biotechnology in the form of microorganisms, where when we introduce these microorganisms into, say, an acre of land with just only 20 kilograms, we're able to increase our yield by over 30% without necessarily having to use what? Any tillage or agricultural practices which damage the soil.
Yeah.
And these technologies are replenishable, they're renewable, they can be applied for the next 100 to 1,000 years without having any damage to the environment. So at Sio Valley Technologies, we really promote solutions that actually solve problems. We are currently developing an insect camouflage, which will eliminate the need to use pesticides by basically spraying onto fruits in the field, and the insects will no longer be able to identify the fruits, so they just pass by without having to attack the produce.
But just so we believe what he's saying, because he's talking about very magical things, camouflaging the fruits so that insects don't see, extending shelf life of tomatoes up to 6 months. Let's just watch a little video of what they've been actually able to do, so that we know if this is Chiwani or if this is real. I don't know if that video is ready.
So in the video, we're developing a formulation for Bogoya, and you can see that there is one section of Bogoya that have been coated with different formulations of Kafresh, and the other one that hasn't been coated. I'll leave it to you to tell me which one you'd prefer.
All right. All right, that was quick. I don't know if you want to just explain what we just saw there. We needed a voice-over artist to explain. So just explain that one more time.
So the Bogoyas which ripened faster did not have our solution applied onto them. And the ones that delayed in ripening actually have different formulations of Kafresh. So we're trying to see how far we can extend the shelf life of Bogoya at room temperature.
And so far, how far have we been able to go?
We're now at 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Room temperature.
Wow. I think a round of applause, a much deserved round of applause in that regard.